Okay guys, let's do Mojo videos. Not that I had to charge my phone. Let's do a top 20 terrifying deaths in Disney movies. It's 22 minutes, but once this 15 minutes, I will stop.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 terrifying deaths in Disney movies. For this list, we'll be looking at the most horrifying deaths from Disney and Pixar movies that freaked children out and left parents asking, what was this rated again? As for this video, we're rating it S for spoilers and emotional scarring. Which Disney death terrified you the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, The Horned King, The Black Cauldron. Speaking of ratings, The Black Cauldron marked the first animated Disney film to venture into PG territory. That might not sound like a big deal now, but since this dark fantasy came out in the 80s, a PG rating could get away with some pretty graphic imagery. While the film was apparently toned down to avoid an even more adult-oriented rating, The Horned King's death is still pure nightmare fuel. With his skeletal body and terrifying red eyes, the villain already has a creepy design, but he's only made more grotesque as the cauldron consumes him, stripping the flesh from his bones.
I wasn't around watching that movie then.
In retrospect, he was surprisingly easy for Taran to defeat, but this doesn't take away from the shock factor.
Oh no! How horrible!
Number 19, King Agnar and Queen Iduna, Frozen. Sometimes the most horrifying deaths are the most realistic. For all the magic in Frozen, King Agnar and Queen Iduna meet a very grounded demise. After bidding farewell to their loved ones, the King and Queen of Arendelle set out for what they believe will be a 2-week voyage. Sadly, Agnar and Iduna never returned. Their ship is engulfed by dangerous waters on a stormy night. Anna and Elsa are forced to relive the trauma in the sequel when they discover the wreckage of their parents' lost ship. Although there are no bodies on board, Elsa uses the water to summon the peaceful memory of her father and mother's final moments. Embracing each other, Agnar and Iduna accept fate as the Dark Sea claims their lives. Number 18, Shan Yu, Mulan. Shan Yu is a human wrecking ball, punching through doors and slicing pillars like they're made of butter. While the Hun leader has brute strength on his side, Mulan has strategy. With a fan, a sword, one big skyrocket, and a little bit of help from her friends, she ends Shan Yu's campaign of terror. Pinned down, the helpless villain is sent flying into a tower of fireworks, blowing to smithereens. Although Shan Yu's demise seems cartoony on the surface, that's only because we're were spared from seeing his crispy remains. Considering how dangerous fireworks are, it's safe to assume that Sean Hughes suffered, and the aftermath was not a pretty sight. For anyone with an active imagination, however, it's hard not to envision the grisly details. Number 17, Sykes, Oliver and Company.
But Patty
He made it in
Although Oliver and
1988.
Company has some breathtaking New York backdrops, it also authentically captures the city's grittier side.
Okay.
Nowhere is this more
I
apparent
thought
than
it was
in the
back in the
final
90s,
chase
but it's
when
not.
Sykes meets his maker. This loan shark is scum, kidnapping a little girl and endangering animals in the process. As satisfying as Sykes' demise
I
is,
wasn't
that
around
doesn't
that
make it
much.
less disturbing.
I had that
Taking the
movie
pursuit
watching
onto
it
the
when I was a
subway
kid.
rails, our heroes dodge the oncoming train. Sykes isn't so lucky. The scene is especially terrifying when you watch it in slow motion, allowing the audience to really see the fear in Sykes' eyes as he stares down the headlights before the train obliterates his vehicle. And that, kids, is why you don't play on the subway tracks.
It goes 85 years. It's just about time, you know. It means experience. If I told you I'd been jarring raspberry preserves for 85 years, it'd be like that's got to be some scrumptious jam. Geico.
Number 16, Professor Ratigan, the Great Mouse Detective.
I wasn't around watching that either.
Look out!
As much as Ratigan attempts to present himself as a refined elitist, he's really nothing more than a filthy rat. Don't tell him that, though, or else you might meet the same fate as Bartholomew.
Oh, Radigan. Oh, Radigan. You're the tops. And that.
When Ratigan's schemes fall apart, he lets the beast inside run rampant, as he pursues Basil and little Olivia inside Big Ben. The use of sound and building music adds to the tension as Ratigan hones in on our heroes, practically ripping Basil to shreds with his claws. But as the clock bell tolls, Ratigan's time on Earth officially runs out, plunging him to an appropriate fate for a rat. Number 15, Hopper, A Bug's Life. On paper, this death might not sound especially macabre. We mean, birds feed bugs to their young every day. Seeing the carnage from the bug's point of view, however, we're given a first-hand look at just how grim the food chain can be. Lured to a bird's nest, Hopper assumes that this is another fake that the ants have cooked up.
Well, what's this? Another one of your little bird tricks?
It dawns on Hopper too late that this bird of prey is the real deal. By this point, his fate is sealed. Dangling from the bird's beak, Hopper is lowered into the nest where 3 hatchlings need to feed. The chicks look fairly realistic for late 90s CGI, which adds to the horror as we zoom into one's mouth as Hopper is consumed. Number 14, Commander Rourke, Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
I
This may be
remember
the most
that.
creative death on our list, petrifying audiences young and old in a new and creative way.
I haven't been watching in years.
Even as his escape plan blows up in his face,
This
Commander Rourke is determined
movie,
to
I
go
would
down
say when I
swinging.
was
He nearly gives Milo
11
the
years
axe,
old.
but our hero compensates for his lack of brawn with brains. He cuts Rourke with a crystal
Because
shard,
I
which
think
seemingly
I
only
still
leaves
have
a
that
minor
movie,
injury.
probably
The
not.
scratch rapidly envelops
I think
Rourke's
I
entire
do.
body,
It's
though,
in my dad's
crystallizing him
house
into
or
a
my grandma's
phenomenally
house.
demented creature. He looks like the Human Torch, the Invisible Woman, and the Thing all rolled into one. Still refusing to give up, Rourke hits the fan and is shattered into countless pieces. And this time, it was personal. Number 13, Scroop, Treasure Planet. A lot of Disney villains die
12 years
falling
old.
from great heights. Scroop's demise is the exact opposite. This scene is like something out of Alien,
I don't.
and while not quite as chilling as that film, it
I haven't
comes close
seen
enough.
it.
As Scroop attempts to snap Jim Hawkins into pieces, Ben fidgets with the artificial gravity, sending the two spiraling towards the crow's nest. Although Scroop appears to have the upper hand, or the upper claw in this case, the agile Jim bests Scroop, ensnaring him in a black flag.
Do say hello to Mr. Tell him yourself!
As Scroop spirals to a dire fate beyond the stars, we try not to think about the ensuing asphyxiation or decompression he probably endured. But hey, maybe he ran into Mr. Arrow out
Right.
there too soon.
Okay, hold on.
Number 12, Judge Doom. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one Disney film that was arguably made more.
Alright guys, I'm gonna stop right here because that video is way too long, so let me see you in my last one, guys.